Everyone, after working as a therapist for a long time with a lot of people, working mainly in the physical domain with people, but going into emotional as well, holding space for emotions and working with emotions and the intelligence within inside emotions and mindset, and also going into even spiritual aspects, energetic aspects of people and their lives and injuries. One thing that I've learned, and it's a Daoist idea, that's where I come across it anyway, was that a therapist or a teacher, ideally someone that you mesh with well, that you flow with well, that you feel safe with, that person actually feels like a ball, like almost like a greasy ball. And what that means is when the client, they're pushing an edge, so they're speaking and an edge is coming out of them. Someone who's not acting like a greasy ball where that edge slides off and around, it's like the therapist's edge and that person's edge meet and they clash. That clash can be generated on purpose to make a change with someone, where it really needs to be a change made if they're doing things that are really not good for their progress. But in the end, being able to flow with someone despite their edges, that's a huge skill. And it means that the therapist or the teacher has a high level of awareness within themselves, or expanding level of awareness within themselves. And they're acting as the leader in their life. They're authentically living as a leader in their own life. That means there's more awareness being produced within the person. And when you are a leader in your own life and the awareness is producing, what you start to see after time is you start to see people falling in their own holes that they're making, and it's the holes to do with the way they view life, the decisions they make, the lack of understanding of consequences, long term or even short future term consequences to actions that they're doing right now. So the therapist has an opportunity at a certain point to start to lead that person into a line of questioning where they can work out their own answers. And the best way I've found to help people in their own growth is to help them find their own answers, unless the person asks specifically for what's my insight and that sort of stuff. And then I'm very careful of what I say when it comes to that, because it doesn't take much to get someone's back up, to get their nose out of joint, especially when they feel they're in a safe space and all of a sudden you say something that seems judgmental. So there needs to be a really good communication about that, because all of a sudden the person doesn't feel safe. They're in a confined room with you and it's just you and them, or they're laying on the table in a vulnerable space. So being that greasy ball, what it means is that you're able to hold space for whatever comes out, and whatever comes out needs to be respectful. That's really important. The times where I've said to people, probably about 3 or 4 times, that everything's okay in this room. However you feel, it's okay in this room. Some people have taken that too far and become so freaking childish, it's not funny. Or a part of them that wasn't good for me started to come out. And that childish part doesn't want to take responsibility at all, and really wants to project a lot more. So things can come out, things can be spoken, but it needs to be in a respectful way and in an aware and wise way on both sides. I hope that makes sense. So it's a way of flowing. It's like the idea of the greasy ball or the slippery ball. Things just bounce off, things can get absorbed, and not like someone says something and the therapist is like a brick wall, and that information doesn't go in, they don't hear it, or that information bounces straight back, because that feels dismissive and it feels abusive, and it can feel like the therapist doesn't care. And that's the biggest thing a therapist can show, is interest and care into the problems other people have, and help find solutions. And part of that solution is holding space for the shitty place that they're in until that balances in their psychology. That requires patience as well.